100 Lessons Learned from Anna Delvey. This content is based on widely reported events and publicly available information. It is intended for educational purposes only and not meant to defame or libel any individuals involved. Welcome to Love Luxe Amore, where we talk about self-development and fulfilling our dreams. If you're a regular viewer or just joining us, I'm thrilled to have you here. Today, we're delving into a story that reads like fiction but is shockingly real: 100 Lessons Learned from Anna Delvey. Anna, born Anna Sorokin, adopted the Delvey persona to infiltrate New York City's elite social circles. Her tale is one of audacity and artifice, where she posed as a wealthy German heiress to fund an opulent lifestyle and a non-existent arts foundation. Anna's saga is a labyrinth of deceit involving high-stakes social engineering, elaborate lies, and near-successful swindles of banks, hotels, and wealthy acquaintances. Her elaborate web of deceit held up until her plans outgrew her means, leading to unpaid bills, legal battles, and eventually, her arrest. Convicted of multiple felonies, Anna spent time in prison, and her release only marked the beginning of a new chapter where she remains a figure of public fascination, often celebrated for her bravado but also serving as a stark reminder of ambition's dark side. In many ways, Anna Delvey is almost a character of her own invention, living a life so grandiose it seems lifted from a novel. She is, paradoxically, a figure of both admiration and admonition. Her ingenuity and drive are enviable, yet her story is a cautionary tale about the dangers of ambition unchecked by morality. She hurt many in her ascent, leaving us with a complex legacy to unpack. Before we get started, remember how much your engagement means to this channel. If you enjoy this deep dive, please like this video, share your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe. Your support helps us continue creating content that inspires and challenges our community. As we navigate the intricate lessons from Anna's journey, think about the implications for your own life. Which of these lessons resonate with you? Which challenge you to think differently? This video isn't just a retrospective on Anna Delvey's choices, it's an opportunity to reflect on our own values, decisions, and the lengths we're willing to go to realize our dreams. And for those of you looking to elevate your personal and professional lives, make sure to visit loveluxamore.com. Our site offers tailored digital products and expert services designed to help you manifest your aspirations and refine your strategies for success. Now, settle in as we explore the captivating, complex lessons from the life of Anna Delvey and discover what we can learn from her extraordinary and controversial journey. 100 Lessons Learned from Anna Delvey. 1. Fake it well enough, and real wealth will want to be seen with you. The illusion of money often attracts actual money, as people want to associate with perceived success. Anna Delvey infiltrated New York's elite by claiming she had a $60 million trust fund, even though her bank account was nearly empty. She convinced wealthy socialites to invite her to exclusive events, stay in five-star hotels, and even introduce her to investors. By surrounding herself with luxury, she made herself appear legitimate, despite leaving behind unpaid bills. At the 11 Howard Hotel in Soho, she tipped employees with $100 bills while failing to pay her $30,000 tab. This created a perception of wealth, making people less likely to question her financial status. It wasn't until the unpaid balances accumulated that people realized she had nothing to back up her claims. 2. The line between ambition and exploitation is thinner than we think. Many ambitious figures bend the rules to get ahead, but at what point does it cross into fraud? Anna Delvey framed herself as a visionary entrepreneur building the Anna Delvey Foundation, a high-end arts club. She pitched her idea to major investors, claiming she had financial backing, when in reality, she forged bank statements to appear credible. Some saw her as an ambitious woman trying to break into an exclusive world, while others saw her as a manipulative fraudster. She nearly secured a $22 million loan by deceiving Fortress Investment Group, but when they requested verification, she panicked and withdrew her application. Ambition can be celebrated, but when deception is the primary tool, it quickly turns into exploitation. Her story became a debate about whether she was an outsider disrupting the system or simply a con artist looking for an easy payday. 3. Luxury is only impressive if you don't have to steal it. Living a glamorous lifestyle is meaningless if it's built on deception and fraud. Anna Delvey stayed at the Beekman Hotel, the W Hotel, and La Mamounia in Marrakesh, racking up thousands in unpaid bills. She wore designer clothes, dined at Michelin-starred restaurants, and traveled in private jets, all without actually having the money to afford it. While some admired her ability to gain access to high society, others saw her as nothing more than a glorified thief. Her trip to Morocco, where she convinced Rachel Williams to fork over her credit card for a $62,000 vacation, was the tipping point. When Rachel realized she wouldn't be reimbursed, she reported Anna to authorities, leading to her downfall. True luxury isn't about appearances, it's about the ability to pay without the fear of being caught. 4. Crime doesn't always pay, but it does get streaming rights. While most criminals serve their sentences and fade into obscurity, some turn their notoriety into a business opportunity. Anna Delvey was sentenced to 4 to 12 years in prison, yet her story became a sensation, leading to Netflix's Inventing Anna. She was paid $320,000 for the rights to her story, though most of the money went toward restitution and legal fees. Instead of disappearing, she used her criminal past to stay relevant, even securing a house arrest reality show, Delvey's Dinner Club. She has leveraged her fraud conviction into an entertainment career, participating in Dancing with the Stars and partnering with Kelly Cutrone for a media project. Some argue this glamorizes her crimes, while others see it as a savvy reinvention. Either way, her past misdeeds have made her more famous and profitable than ever. 5. Being mysterious is a great networking strategy until the FBI shows up. People are drawn to those who seem elusive, intriguing, and exclusive. Anna Delvey built an entire persona around being a wealthy heiress with mysterious European connections. She never provided concrete details about her background but dropped just enough hints to make people believe in her status. This worked for years, as investors, hotel staff, and socialites accepted her story at face value. But when her unpaid debts piled up and financial institutions began investigating, the mystery unraveled quickly. The FBI arrested her in 2017 in a sting operation coordinated with Rachel Williams, who felt betrayed after covering the Morocco trip. The allure of mystery is powerful, but eventually, reality demands answers. 6. A redemption arc only works if people forget why they were mad. Many public figures reinvent themselves after scandals, but true redemption requires more than just a rebrand. Anna Delvey has worked hard to shift the narrative from con artist to misunderstood entrepreneur. She claims she always intended to pay people back and blames the system for making it difficult for outsiders to access wealth. However, many of those she scammed, like Rachel Williams, still see her as a manipulative liar. While she's gained new fans through her media projects, the question remains, has she truly changed, or is this just another con? Some admire her resilience, while others believe she's capitalizing on a crime that hurt real people. If she hopes for full redemption, she will need to do more than profit from her past mistakes. 7. If you have to justify it, it's probably wrong. Ethical business practices don't require constant excuses or elaborate explanations. Anna Delvey repeatedly justified her scams by insisting she was just playing the game the wealthy play. She argued that banks and investors take risks on men all the time, so why shouldn't she do the same? But the difference was that she never had the assets or real backing she claimed. When her loans fell through, she failed to return the money she had borrowed from banks, friends, and businesses. Many who once supported her turned against her once they realized her lies weren't strategic, they were outright theft. If a business plan requires deception, it's not a business, it's a scam. 8. Infamy is just fame with worse PR. Scandals can make people just as famous as talent or hard work. Anna Delvey didn't become a household name because of her business skills, she became famous because of her fraud and eventual arrest. When Netflix turned her story into Inventing Anna, she gained millions of new followers. Rather than fading away in disgrace, she leaned into her infamy, securing TV deals and exclusive interviews. Many question whether she should be rewarded for her crimes, while others see her as an anti-hero who exposed society's obsession with wealth. Regardless of public opinion, she remains in the spotlight, proving that notoriety can be as powerful as genuine success. In an era where attention is currency, even a criminal record can be leveraged into opportunity. 9. Expensive restaurants won't let you dine on confidence alone. No matter how wealthy you pretend to be, eventually, the bill arrives. Anna Delvey dined at some of the most exclusive restaurants in New York, leaving behind thousands in unpaid tabs. She convinced people to pick up the check by making them believe she would reimburse them later. For a while, this strategy worked, until it didn't. When her unpaid bills became too numerous to ignore, restaurants, hotels, and financial institutions began to push back. Even confidence has limits when there's no actual money to support it. No matter how much someone acts the part, reality eventually catches up. 10. A second act is easier if the first one was dramatic enough. Not everyone gets a chance to reinvent themselves after a scandal, but some do it exceptionally well. Anna Delvey didn't just move on from her fraud conviction, she turned it into her brand. She's selling artwork based on her prison experience, hosting elite dinner parties, and working on media projects. While some critics argue she's exploiting her crimes for profit, others see her as someone who outplayed the system. Her participation in Dancing with the Stars, complete with an ankle monitor, was a clear example of her ability to capitalize on her notoriety. She's managed to make fraud not just a past mistake but a marketable identity. Whether she truly reforms or continues the con remains to be seen. 11. Being seen as wealthy is often more important than actually being wealthy. In high society, perception is everything. Anna Delvey knew that dressing in designer clothes, staying at luxury hotels, and dropping big names could make her seem like she belonged. Even though she didn't have the funds to sustain her lifestyle, the illusion of wealth was enough to gain entry into exclusive spaces. Many of the people she scammed never questioned her status because she played the part so convincingly. At the 11 Howard Hotel, she made a habit of handing out $100 tips while simultaneously dodging payment requests for her $30,000 bill. By the time people realized she was faking it, she had already embedded herself deep into elite circles. The right look and attitude can open doors, but eventually, the bill comes due. 12. People admire a bold con until they're the victim. Society has long been fascinated with con artists who pull off grand deceptions. Anna Delvey's story captivated the public, with some praising her audacity while others condemned her deception. While outsiders marveled at how she fooled banks, hotels, and investors, the people she personally scammed, like Rachel Williams, felt betrayed and outraged. Rachel, a former Vanity Fair photo editor, trusted Anna enough to put their Moroccan vacation on her credit card, believing she would be reimbursed. When it became clear that Anna had no intention of paying her back, Rachel took action that contributed to her eventual arrest. Many people enjoyed the spectacle of Anna's rise and fall, but those left with real financial losses weren't as amused. A good story doesn't erase the damage done to those who believed in the lie. 13. The obsession with status makes it easy to fool those who worship it. People who are fixated on wealth and exclusivity often fail to see past appearances. Anna Delvey took advantage of this by carefully curating a persona that signaled extreme affluence. She knew that the right clothes, the right attitude, and the right connections would make people less likely to question her background. Investors considered funding her $22 million arts foundation because they assumed someone in her social circle had already verified her wealth. Hotels let her stay without upfront payments because they didn't want to offend a supposed heiress. Even luxury service providers like Blade allowed her to fly private, believing she would settle the bill later. When people are dazzled by status, they become blind to warning signs. 14. Financial literacy is essential. Anna presented herself as a savvy businesswoman but lacked the financial knowledge to legitimately fund her ambitions. She manipulated banks, investors, and friends to support her lavish lifestyle instead of learning how to build real wealth. Understanding budgeting, credit management, and investment principles is crucial to achieving financial stability. Without proper financial literacy, even the most ambitious individuals can find themselves in serious trouble. 15. Girl boss turns to con boss real quick. The idea of the self-made, ambitious woman has been celebrated in modern culture, but not all success stories are built on honesty. Anna Delvey positioned herself as a driven entrepreneur who was simply navigating a system that wasn't designed for outsiders. She presented the Anna Delvey Foundation as a groundbreaking luxury club, convincing investors that she was just like the wealthy men who secured massive loans for startups. However, unlike legitimate entrepreneurs, she never had the funds she claimed, and her entire business was built on lies. Her story became a twisted version of the girl boss movement, one that highlighted how ambition without ethics leads to fraud. Instead of breaking barriers, she exploited people's trust and left a trail of unpaid debts. The line between a bold visionary and a scam artist is often thinner than it appears. 16. The best way to avoid being scammed? Stop idolizing wealth you don't understand. Many people fall for financial scams because they assume wealth equates to credibility. Anna Delvey knew that looking rich was enough to gain people's trust, even when she had nothing to back it up. Those who admired her lavish lifestyle failed to ask critical questions about where her money actually came from. The banks she tried to deceive almost fell for her fraud because they assumed a well-connected woman must be financially secure. Even those who were scammed, like Rachel Williams, initially believed Anna was trustworthy because of the image she projected. The more people obsess over wealth, the easier it is for scammers to manipulate them. True financial security isn't about appearances, it's about what's actually in the bank. 17. The right outfit and an air of superiority can take you further than a degree. In high society, confidence and presentation often outweigh actual credentials. Anna Delvey never needed an Ivy League education or a legitimate business background, she just needed to look and act the part. By dressing in designer clothes, speaking with authority, and surrounding herself with the right people, she convinced investors, hotel managers, and socialites that she belonged. She was given access to private clubs, exclusive events, and high-end services simply because she carried herself like someone who could afford them. Even when she failed to pay bills, many establishments hesitated to confront her because they didn't want to offend someone they assumed was powerful. Her ability to carry herself with unshakable confidence allowed her to maintain the illusion far longer than expected. In a world where perception is everything, some people can con their way to the top. 18. A vacation isn't worth a prison sentence. Living lavishly at someone else's expense may seem exciting, but the consequences can be severe. Anna Delvey's infamous trip to Morocco, where she convinced Rachel Williams to put everything on her credit card, was one of her biggest mistakes. She promised Rachel reimbursement, knowing full well she had no money to pay her back. When Rachel realized the scam, she played a key role in setting up Anna's arrest by working with authorities. That trip alone contributed significantly to her conviction, proving that no amount of luxury is worth the legal fallout. What seemed like a glamorous getaway ended in fraud charges and a prison sentence. The real cost of deception isn't just financial, it's legal and reputational. 19. Privilege and power. The system is easier to manipulate when it expects you to belong. Society often gives the benefit of the doubt to those who appear to fit a certain mold. Anna Delvey was able to maintain her scam for years because she looked and acted like a wealthy heiress. Banks, hotels, and investors were more willing to take risks on her because they assumed she was one of their own. Had she not been well-dressed and socially polished, it's unlikely she would have been able to deceive so many for so long. Even after her arrest, her treatment differed from that of other criminals who committed similar frauds. While some scammers fade into obscurity, she was given opportunities to monetize her notoriety. Power isn't just about money, it's about perception and access. 20. Scammers thrive in the gaps of the system. Scammers often take advantage of weaknesses in financial systems to appear more credible than they are. Anna nearly secured a $22 million loan by exploiting banks' eagerness to attract wealthy clients. She presented forged documents and strategically avoided strict verification processes. Many institutions prioritize high-net-worth individuals, sometimes overlooking red flags in the rush to secure lucrative deals. Fraudsters recognize these gaps and use them to their advantage, slipping through regulatory cracks. Without thorough due diligence, even major banks can fall victim to deception. Anna's case highlights how easily perception can override reality in high-stakes finance. 21. The world loves a rule-breaking woman until she breaks their rules. Society often admires women who defy expectations and push boundaries, but only up to a point. Anna Delvey was initially seen as an audacious figure who infiltrated elite circles and outsmarted powerful institutions. Some viewed her as a modern anti-hero, challenging the exclusivity of the ultra-wealthy. However, once it became clear that her rule-breaking involved scamming friends, businesses, and banks, the public turned against her. Rachel Williams, once a close friend, went from being impressed by Anna's confidence to leading the charge for her arrest after being tricked into paying for their lavish Moroccan vacation. While men in finance have been celebrated for risk-taking and deception, Anna was labeled a con artist rather than a clever disruptor. The world may tolerate rule breakers, but only when they play by the unspoken rules of power and privilege. 22. If someone dodges money questions with vague answers, assume the worst. People who are truly wealthy don't need to avoid discussions about their finances. Anna Delvey frequently gave vague responses when asked about the details of her supposed $60 million trust fund. She avoided giving specific bank account details and often deflected conversations about how she planned to pay back her debts. When banks like City National requested verification of her assets, she stalled, presented forged documents, and eventually abandoned her attempts to secure a $22 million loan. Investors and friends alike overlooked the warning signs because they were blinded by the lifestyle she projected. In reality, every financial question she avoided was a red flag that people failed to catch. If someone claims wealth but can't explain where it comes from, chances are it doesn't exist. 23. People will trust a confident scam more than an insecure truth. Humans are naturally drawn to certainty, even when it's built on lies. Anna Delvey exuded an unshakable confidence that made people believe in her fake persona. When questioned about her wealth, she didn't hesitate, she spoke with authority and acted as if doubting her was absurd. This convinced financiers, hoteliers, and socialites that she was legitimate, even when her actions suggested otherwise. Meanwhile, many honest people who express doubt or hesitation struggle to gain trust simply because they lack that same conviction. Her story proves that confidence can be a powerful currency, often more valuable than actual money. In a world that rewards certainty, sometimes a bold lie is more persuasive than an uncertain truth. 24. Crime, but make it couture. Anna Delvey's fraud wasn't just about stealing money, it was about crafting an image. She dressed in high-end brands like Celine, Balenciaga, and Gucci, ensuring that she looked the part of a wealthy heiress. Even during her trial, she treated the courtroom as a runway, hiring a stylist to curate her outfits. This calculated presentation turned her from an ordinary criminal into a pop culture phenomenon, with people debating whether she was a scammer or a misunderstood fashion icon. Her signature look became so influential that it was even replicated by fans and featured in Inventing Anna. While her financial crimes were serious, her ability to blend deception with luxury made her story even more compelling. When fraud is wrapped in designer packaging, some people find it easier to admire than condemn. 25. America punishes some frauds while letting others run billion-dollar companies. The justice system doesn't treat all fraudsters equally. While Anna Delvey was sentenced to 4 to 12 years in prison for scamming banks and hotels, many corporate executives who commit financial crimes face little to no consequences. Figures like Elizabeth Holmes, who defrauded investors out of hundreds of millions, were given lengthy trials and the opportunity to settle some of their debts before facing sentencing. This was likely a strategic move by her legal team to demonstrate responsibility and good faith, potentially aiming to secure a more lenient sentence by showing remorse and willingness to make amends. Meanwhile, Wall Street bankers responsible for the 2008 financial crisis largely escaped punishment despite devastating economic consequences. Anna's case was high profile, but her scams were relatively small compared to major financial crimes. Her story raises questions about why some fraudsters become criminalized while others are allowed to continue profiting. In the grand scheme of financial scandals, Anna was just a small player with an outsized punishment. 26. Socialite circles are built on perception, not reality. In elite social groups, the appearance of wealth matters more than actual financial stability. Anna Delvey was able to blend seamlessly into New York's high society simply because she looked, spoke, and acted like she belonged. Many of the people she befriended never questioned her background because they assumed someone else had already vetted her. Exclusive spaces like the Soho House and private members-only clubs are filled with individuals who project status, often without verifying their wealth. The entire concept of exclusivity relies on maintaining an image, which made it easy for Anna to insert herself into the scene. Even after her fraud was exposed, some of her former acquaintances still defended her, showing that perception often trumps reality. High society operates on trust, and Anna exploited that trust for as long as she could. 27. Social media loves to glorify a mess until it gets boring. The internet thrives on scandal, and Anna Delvey's story was the perfect viral sensation. People were fascinated by her ability to trick New York's elite, and her trial became a media spectacle. Memes, TikToks, and tweets turned her into an anti-hero, with some praising her for hustling her way into wealth. However, social media's obsession with scammers is often short-lived. As new scandals emerge, public interest fades, and former supporters begin to question whether they ever should have admired her. While inventing Anna reignited interest in her story, it's unclear how long she can remain relevant. The internet may love a fraudster, but once the novelty wears off, the audience moves on. 28. If you fake it till you make it, make sure the check's clear. Pretending to be successful is a common strategy, but without real financial backing, it's a recipe for disaster. Anna Delvey acted as though she had unlimited wealth, but her inability to actually pay her bills led to her downfall. While she managed to deceive hotels, banks, and investors for years, the moment they tried to collect on her debts, the illusion crumbled. Had she secured actual funding for her foundation or found legitimate backing, she might have been able to sustain the lie. Instead, she relied entirely on fraudulent checks and unpaid balances, hoping no one would notice. When her checks bounced and financial institutions caught on, she had no way to keep up the facade. The truth always catches up, no matter how well-crafted the illusion is. 29. Delulu is the salulu until the bill is due. Anna Delvey mastered the art of self-delusion, convincing herself, and everyone around her, that she was a wealthy heiress. She booked penthouses, took private jets, and ordered bottles of expensive champagne, all while her bank account was gasping for air. For a while, she lived in a fantasy where wire transfers were on the way and investors just needed more time to say yes. The problem? Reality doesn't accept vibes as payment. When her hotel tabs stacked up and her credit cards mysteriously declined, the illusion cracked. Anna thought confidence could replace cash, but eventually, someone always asks for the receipt. Delulu works until the bill collectors show up. 30. The modern scammer is just an influencer with worse morals. Many influencers today sell unrealistic lifestyles, carefully curating their public image while hiding the reality of their finances. Anna Delvey essentially did the same thing, except her deception extended beyond social media into real-world fraud. She crafted an aspirational persona, convinced people to invest in her, and maintained an air of exclusivity that made her seem more important than she was. In many ways, she operated like a luxury lifestyle influencer, only without the actual income to support it. Some have compared her tactics to those of influencers who sell false narratives about wealth and success to their followers. The difference is that while influencers profit from exaggerated branding, Anna's entire empire was built on lies and unpaid bills. In today's world, the lines between influencer culture and scamming are becoming increasingly blurred. 31. When the justice system focuses on celebrity cases, actual fraudsters get away. High-profile trials often capture public attention, but they don't always reflect the most serious crimes. While Anna Delvey's fraud made headlines, many corporate criminals have stolen far more money without facing consequences. For example, while Anna scammed banks and hotels out of hundreds of thousands, executives at companies like Wells Fargo and Enron caused financial ruin for thousands of people and faced minimal punishment. The media spectacle around her trial helped reinforce the idea that financial crime is only prosecuted when it's sensational. Meanwhile, Wall Street fraudsters continue operating, often paying fines instead of serving prison time. Anna's case raises the question, was she punished for her crimes or for daring to scam the wealthy? When legal systems prioritize public perception, justice can become more about entertainment than fairness. 32. The best con artists don't just lie, they make you want to believe them. A successful scam isn't just about deception, it's about creating a story that people want to be true. Anna Delvey's pitch for the Anna Delvey Foundation was so compelling that investors genuinely wanted to believe she was a young, visionary entrepreneur. She knew how to make people feel like they were part of something exclusive, using secrecy and exclusivity to keep them engaged. Even Rachel Williams, who ultimately helped take her down, admitted that she initially found Anna captivating and magnetic. The hotels, banks, and investors she scammed weren't just tricked, they were drawn in by a narrative that felt aspirational. The best scams work because they tap into people's desires, not just their gullibility. When someone offers you the dream you want, you're more likely to ignore the red flags. 33. Knowing the right people can open doors, even if you don't belong. Social capital is often more valuable than actual wealth, and Anna Delvey understood this better than most. By befriending influencers, financiers, and socialites, she gained access to spaces that typically require extreme wealth. Once inside, she leveraged those connections to extend her scam, convincing others that she was legitimate. Nefertari Davis, the concierge at 11 Howard, was one of the first to be drawn in by Anna's charm, believing she was an eccentric but wealthy guest. Because Anna surrounded herself with people who appeared credible, others assumed she must be credible too. This is how she was able to convince Blade, a private jet and helicopter service, to let her fly private, and City National, to consider her loan application. In high society, association with the right people can be just as powerful as actual money. 34. A fake German accent is apparently worth millions. The smallest details in a scam can make all the difference. Anna Delvey carefully cultivated her persona, including speaking with a vague European accent to reinforce her story as a German heiress. People were less likely to question her background because she seemed foreign and mysterious, adding to her allure. The fact that her actual name, Anna Sorokin, was Russian, didn't fit the narrative she wanted to sell. By tweaking minor details, like her accent and wardrobe, she created a persona that was hard to disprove. Even when people had doubts, the illusion was strong enough to keep them from digging too deeply. Sometimes, the most effective lies are the ones wrapped in just enough truth to seem believable. 35. Courtroom couture won't save you. Anna took dress for the job you want very seriously, hiring a stylist for her trial and turning her court appearances into fashion moments. She walked into that courtroom in Chloe, Dior, and Saint Laurent, fully believing she could finesse a jury the way she finessed New York's elite. The problem? The only outfit that really mattered was the prison uniform waiting for her at Rikers. The judge wasn't handing out style points, and Chanel can't reduce a 4 to 12-year sentence. You can curate the perfect look, but you can't accessorize your way out of a felony. Anna learned the hard way that lawyers matter more than labels. 36. The rich love an intriguing outsider until the bill arrives. Wealthy circles often welcome eccentric new members who bring excitement and mystery. Anna Delvey fit this mold perfectly, positioning herself as a glamorous, unconventional heiress with big plans. She was invited to exclusive parties, given VIP treatment, and trusted by powerful people until they realized she couldn't actually pay for anything. Once her unpaid bills became too large to ignore, those same elites quickly distanced themselves from her. The rich enjoy collecting interesting personalities, but they have little patience for financial liabilities. Anna learned the hard way that high society will embrace you as long as you can keep up the illusion. The moment that illusion cracks, you're discarded just as quickly as you were welcomed. 37. If you're bold enough, people won't question you, even when they should. Many people assume that someone who confidently demands VIP treatment must be important. Anna Delvey used the psychological trick to her advantage, insisting on the best hotel suites, front-row fashion show seats, and priority service at elite restaurants. She didn't ask for favors timidly, she expected them, which made people hesitant to question her legitimacy. At the 11 Howard Hotel, staff treated her like a valued guest simply because she acted like she was one. Even when she failed to provide a working credit card, she convinced the hotel to let her stay for months without upfront payment. Boldness can be a powerful tool, and Anna used it to manipulate even the most skeptical people. The louder the confidence, the less likely people are to suspect a scam. 38. The system is easier to manipulate when it expects you to belong. Anna Delvey exploited the fact that wealthy institutions often operate on trust rather than strict verification. Because she presented herself as an elite heiress, banks and investors were willing to consider her loan applications despite glaring red flags. She convinced Fortress Investment Group to take her $22 million request seriously by simply acting as if she belonged in those financial circles. Even when she deposited fraudulent checks, Signature Bank initially allowed her to withdraw $70,000 before realizing the funds weren't real. The wealthier someone appears, the fewer questions they are asked, a fact Anna understood and used to her advantage. Institutions that are quick to deny services to ordinary people are often the easiest to fool when a scammer speaks their language. Sometimes, privilege is the best disguise for fraud. 39. People assume financial competence if you throw around big numbers. One of Anna Delvey's most effective tactics was casually mentioning enormous sums of money. She frequently spoke about her supposed $60 million trust fund, the $22 million she needed for her foundation, and the lavish investments she was making. By normalizing these figures, she made it seem plausible that she was handling millions, even though her actual bank balance was close to zero. Investors at Fortress were initially intrigued by her project because they assumed someone dealing in that scale of money must have real assets. Similarly, banks were willing to work with her because they didn't want to lose out on a potentially high-net-worth client. Throwing around financial jargon and big numbers made her seem legitimate, even when the math didn't add up. If people believe the scale of your wealth, they rarely question its legitimacy. 40. Old money trusts old money, but sometimes it's just new fraud. The ultra-wealthy tend to trust those who come from similar backgrounds, assuming shared values and experiences. Anna Delvey exploited this by pretending to be from generational wealth, claiming her family had deep ties in Europe. Because she acted as if she belonged in old money circles, many people trusted her without requiring verification. Her ability to mimic the mannerisms, speech, and habits of the elite allowed her to gain entry into spaces where outsiders usually aren't welcome. Ironically, while some of her scams targeted the ultra-rich, she mostly took advantage of those who were rich enough to be useful but not powerful enough to see through her deception. In reality, she wasn't part of old money, she was just a modern scam artist with a convincing story. Sometimes, the biggest frauds were the most expensive masks. 41. Having an elite lawyer is a privilege even when you're guilty. The quality of legal representation can make all the difference in a criminal case. Anna Delvey managed to secure a high-profile attorney, Todd Spodek, who built a defense around the idea that she wasn't a scammer but a misunderstood entrepreneur. While other fraudsters with fewer resources might have faced harsher sentences, Anna's legal strategy focused on portraying her as an ambitious woman trying to break into an exclusive world. Her lawyer even compared her to tech visionaries like Elon Musk, arguing that she was simply playing the game the way wealthy men do. Although she was convicted on multiple counts, her legal team's framing of her as a cultural figure rather than a criminal helped her gain public sympathy. Many criminals don't get the chance to rewrite their narrative through the media or well-connected attorneys. In the legal system, the ability to shape your story is often just as important as the evidence against you. 42. The world loves a messy woman as long as she's entertaining. Society has a long history of both vilifying and obsessing over women who break the rules. Anna Delvey became a media sensation not just because of her crimes but because she was fascinating to watch. Her trial was covered like a fashion event, her story was adapted into Inventing Anna, and even after her conviction, people remained invested in her antics. Unlike male fraudsters, who are often condemned without nuance, Anna was both criticized and admired for her audacity. She leaned into the spectacle, treating her own downfall as part of the performance. Her messy, unapologetic personality kept her in the public eye, proving that controversy can be a career asset. In a world where scandals sell, being a disaster doesn't mean being irrelevant, it means staying marketable. 43. Expecting blind loyalty from others is a mistake. Anna was shocked when her friends, particularly Rachel, went to authorities and testified against her. She believed that because she had once provided them with extravagant experiences, they owed her unwavering loyalty. However, friendship does not mean covering for someone's unethical or illegal behavior. When you deceive and manipulate those closest to you, you can't expect them to stand by you indefinitely. Loyalty is a two-way street, and those who feel betrayed will ultimately prioritize their own well-being over protecting someone who has wronged them. 44. Gaslight, gatekeep, girlboss. Until court is in session. Anna ran the ultimate gaslight, gatekeep, girlboss scam, convincing New York's elite that they just weren't important enough to question her. She acted offended when hotel staff asked for payment, rolled her eyes at investors who needed proof, and dismissed Rachel DeLoach Williams as dramatic when she begged for her $62,000 back. Confidence got her VIP tables and free designer clothes, but when she landed in court, the jury wasn't buying it. She tried to gaslight the legal system into believing she was a misunderstood businesswoman, but grand larceny charges don't care about your hustle. The gate was now the one keeping her locked up, and the girl boss had to swap Chanel for an orange jumpsuit. You can finesse your way through life for a while, but reality doesn't come with a block button. 45. Anna had a better defense attorney than people who actually pay their lawyers. Most people can't even afford a consultation with a high-powered lawyer like Todd Spodek, but Anna finessed full-scale legal representation without a dollar to her name. She got a full defense strategy, media management, and courtroom coaching, all while acting like she had millions in assets waiting to be transferred. Spodek stood in front of a jury, the media, and the judge, insisting that Anna was not a criminal, just misunderstood. Meanwhile, Anna was sitting there knowing full well she wasn't going to pay him a dime. The audacity? Unmatched. The fact that she actually got away with it until he had to sue her for his money? Peak scammer energy. 46. Friendship shouldn't be a one-way street. Anna's trip to Morocco with her friend Rachel DeLoach Williams initially seemed like a luxurious getaway. However, when Anna's credit cards were declined at their high-end resort, she convinced Rachel to cover the bill, promising reimbursement. Anna never paid her back, leaving Rachel financially and emotionally devastated. True friendship is built on mutual trust and support, not exploitation. A one-sided relationship, where one person constantly takes without reciprocating, is not a healthy or genuine friendship. Being mindful of financial boundaries and recognizing red flags in relationships can help prevent situations where trust is abused. 47. You can scam people, but you can't scam karma. No matter how carefully someone constructs a lie, the truth has a way of catching up. Anna Delvey spent years perfecting her fake heiress persona, but eventually, her unpaid debts and broken promises caught up with her. The banks she tricked, the friends she manipulated, and the businesses she scammed all eventually realized they had been deceived. While she may have turned her fraud into a lucrative brand, she still faces ongoing legal battles, visa issues, and the looming threat of deportation. Even after serving her sentence, the consequences of her past continue to shape her future. For every scam that succeeds, there is a moment when the reality crashes down. No one outruns the truth forever. 48. She's not sorry, she's just pivoting. True remorse is about more than just serving time, it's about acknowledging harm and making amends. Anna Delvey has never fully apologized to the people she scammed. Instead, she continues to frame her story as a misunderstanding or an exaggerated punishment. Even after her release, she has focused more on rebranding herself than on repaying the people she wronged. Her media appearances, interviews, and business ventures all position her as a misunderstood outsider rather than a criminal. Some admire her ability to reinvent herself, while others see it as proof that she hasn't truly changed. If anything, her post-prison career suggests that she sees her past more as an opportunity than a mistake. 49. Manifestation is real. But so is fraud. Anna believed in acting like she had it until she actually did, fully committing to the lifestyle of a high-society socialite. She told herself the Anna Delvey Foundation was going to happen, so she manifested it by forging bank documents and scamming investors. She fully expected that by the time people noticed she was broke, she'd have real money to back it up. The universe gives what you put out, sure, but it also gives subpoenas when you forge loan applications. Anna didn't attract abundance, she attracted an NYPD sting operation. Belief is powerful, but belief alone doesn't pay off your hotel tab. There's a fine line between manifesting success and manifesting a prison sentence, and Anna found it the hard way. 50. House arrest isn't a punishment if you turn it into a business model. Most people view house arrest as a restriction, but Anna Delvey has turned it into an opportunity. While confined to her NYC apartment, she launched Delvey's Dinner Club, inviting celebrities and influencers to dine with her. She has used her house arrest status as a marketing tool, framing herself as an exclusive figure hosting even more exclusive events. Rather than fading into obscurity, she has continued to attract media attention, proving that limitations can be leveraged. Her ability to monetize her legal status is both impressive and unsettling. While most convicted fraudsters struggle to rebuild their lives, Anna has found a way to capitalize on hers. When scandal becomes a brand, even punishment can be profitable. 51. She's proof that the right kind of scandal can be an asset. In most cases, a criminal record is a career-ending event, but for Anna Delvey, it became her biggest selling point. Her fraud conviction didn't stop her from securing media deals, brand partnerships, and even an art career. Instead of trying to hide her past, she has leaned into it, making her crimes part of her personal brand. Inventing Anna turned her into a household name, and projects like Delvey's Dinner Club have only cemented her status as a pop culture figure. While many ex-felons struggle to find opportunities, Anna has found a way to profit from her notoriety. Her story proves that in the right circumstances, scandal can be more valuable than success. In a media-driven world, infamy is often just another form of fame. 52. Cancel culture doesn't exist when people are entertained. While some figures are canceled for minor controversies, others manage to thrive despite serious crimes. Anna Delvey's fraud hurt real people, yet her post-prison career has been met with fascination rather than rejection. Her ability to remain relevant shows that audiences are willing to overlook wrongdoing if the story is compelling enough. Inventing Anna framed her as a charismatic antihero rather than a ruthless scammer, making her more likable to viewers. Instead of being ostracized, she has been invited to fashion shows, exclusive events, and media interviews. Society may claim to cancel people for unethical behavior, but if they're entertaining enough, the rules don't seem to apply. In the court of public opinion, spectacle often outweighs morality. 53. Ethics are expensive, some people can't afford them. Doing the right thing isn't always profitable, and for many, the temptation of shortcuts is too strong to resist. Anna Delvey chose fraud not because she had no other options, but because it was the fastest route to the lifestyle she wanted. Instead of building wealth legitimately, she created a persona that allowed her to bypass the hard work usually required. Wealthy elites can afford to play by the rules because they have the resources to do so, but those on the outside often look for loopholes. While many people struggle to climb the social and financial ladder, Anna's scam was a way to skip the process entirely. The ethical path is often the hardest and slowest, which is why fraudsters like her continue to emerge. When the system rewards appearances over substance, deception becomes an appealing alternative. 54. Just because someone gets away with it doesn't make it right. Anna Delvey may have served her sentence, but that doesn't erase the harm she caused. Many of her victims, from hotel employees to banks, never fully recovered the money she owed them. The fact that she has been able to profit from her crimes doesn't mean she should be excused for them. While some argue that she exposed the flaws in the system, others believe she simply exploited them for personal gain. The glamorization of her story risks normalizing fraud as just another way to succeed. Getting away with something doesn't change the fact that it was wrong in the first place. Morality isn't determined by who escapes consequences, it's determined by the impact of one's actions. 55. Rich people problems hit different when you're not actually rich. Anna complained about rich people problems while dodging eviction notices and scamming hotels. She had the stress of a millionaire without the bank account to match, fighting over wire transfers that never existed. She spent her time worrying about private jet fees, not prison fees, until the latter became very real. The thing about rich people problems? You actually have to be rich to have them. When her scam collapsed, she went from fake heiress to real felon, realizing too late that broke people problems still exist. You can fake wealth, but you can't fake your way out of grand larceny charges. 56. Resilience in adversity. Throughout her ordeal, Anna displayed remarkable resilience, a trait admirable in any context. Even when her fraudulent schemes were exposed, she maintained an unshaken confidence and adapted to new circumstances. She continued to push her narrative, leveraging media attention to stay relevant even after her conviction. However, resilience alone is not enough, it must be coupled with ethical decision-making. True resilience should be used to navigate life's trials in a constructive and morally sound manner. It transforms challenges into opportunities for genuine growth rather than repeated deception. By using resilience wisely, you contribute positively to your well-being and to those around you. 57. Scamming the rich doesn't make you Robin Hood. Some people tried to defend Anna Delvey by arguing that she only stole from the wealthy. However, her fraud didn't redistribute wealth, it just funded her own luxury lifestyle. Unlike Robin Hood, she didn't use her money to help the less fortunate, she used it to fly private, stay in five-star hotels, and buy designer clothes. Many of her victims weren't billionaires but rather working professionals, like Rachel Williams, who was left with a massive debt. Even the hotels and banks she scammed employ regular workers who were affected by her actions. Taking from the rich isn't noble if the only beneficiary is the scammer. Fraud isn't activism, it's just theft with better marketing. 58. A sense of entitlement can be self-destructive. Even when her situation became dire, Anna acted as if she was still owed the lifestyle she had fabricated. She expected her friends, hotels, and businesses to accommodate her, even when she had no way to pay. This sense of entitlement led her to treat people as disposable, using them for as long as they were useful and discarding them when they weren't. True success isn't about demanding what you think you deserve, it's about earning trust, respect, and financial stability through hard work and ethical choices. 59. Some people admire hustle, others just see theft. Whether someone is seen as a self-made genius or a criminal depends on how they frame their story. Anna Delvey portrayed herself as a determined businesswoman who was simply taking risks like any other entrepreneur. Some people admire her for navigating elite spaces as an outsider, while others see her as a liar who took advantage of trust. The difference between admiration and condemnation often comes down to perspective. Hustle culture encourages people to do whatever it takes to succeed, but at what cost? If someone's success is built on deception, is it really success at all? There's a fine line between ambition and dishonesty, and Anna walked it until she fell. 60. A good story doesn't make bad actions excusable. Anna Delvey's rise and fall has been captivating, but that doesn't change the fact that she committed fraud. Just because her story makes for compelling TV doesn't mean the people she scammed deserved what happened to them. Many of her victims were left financially struggling while she continues to gain fame and opportunity. The media often romanticizes scammers, turning them into icons rather than cautionary tales. However, a fascinating narrative doesn't erase the harm done. A compelling fraud is still a fraud, no matter how entertaining it is. The fact that her story is interesting doesn't mean it should be celebrated. 61. A scammer with an aesthetic is still a scammer. Just because something looks glamorous doesn't mean it's legitimate. Anna Delvey carefully curated her image, wearing high-end fashion, staying at luxury hotels, and surrounding herself with the wealthy elite. Her Instagram-worthy lifestyle made her seem like she belonged among the ultra-rich, but in reality, she was living on borrowed time and borrowed money. People are often more forgiving of fraud when it's wrapped in an attractive package, but designer clothes and fancy dinners don't change the fact that she was deceiving people. Even during her trial, she ensured her courtroom outfits were perfectly styled, reinforcing the illusion of wealth. However, aesthetics can't pay bills, and eventually, the illusion collapsed. No matter how well-dressed a scam is, it's still a scam. 62. Going viral is better PR than a good lawyer. In today's media landscape, a compelling story can be more valuable than a strong legal defense. While Anna Delvey's crimes were serious, her ability to capture public interest helped shape her post-prison opportunities. Inventing Anna transformed her from a convicted fraudster into a cultural figure, making her more famous than ever. While some saw her as a cautionary tale, others admired her audacity, ensuring that she remained relevant even after serving time. Social media fueled the fascination, with people debating whether she was a criminal or just a misunderstood genius. Her legal team worked hard on her defense, but ultimately, it was public curiosity that kept her in the spotlight. In the age of viral fame, a scandal can sometimes be more profitable than innocence. 63. You can be famous for doing absolutely nothing, just ask reality TV. Not all fame is earned through talent or achievement, sometimes, notoriety is enough. Anna Delvey didn't invent a product, start a successful company, or contribute anything meaningful to society. Yet, she became a global name simply by faking her way into wealth and power. Much like reality TV stars who become celebrities without any real accomplishments, Anna's fame is built on spectacle rather than substance. Her ability to stay in the public eye has less to do with what she's done and more to do with how well she sells the narrative of her life. While some people work hard to build success, others simply know how to manufacture attention. In a world obsessed with fame, sometimes, all it takes is a good scandal. 64. A fraudster with good branding is just a misunderstood entrepreneur. Public perception plays a massive role in how people are judged. While some fraudsters are condemned outright, others manage to spin their crimes into a redemption story. Anna Delvey has worked tirelessly to reframe her narrative, positioning herself as a misunderstood businesswoman rather than a criminal. She claims that she always intended to pay people back and that her vision for the Anna Delvey Foundation was real, even if her methods were flawed. Some people have bought into this narrative, seeing her as an ambitious woman who got caught up in the system rather than a calculated scam artist. Her ability to rebrand herself as an outsider entrepreneur has kept her relevant, even as her past crimes remain well documented. Sometimes, all it takes to change a villain into a visionary is the right marketing. 65. Scammers don't retire, they rebrand. Once someone has built a reputation on deception, it's hard to walk away completely. Anna Delvey may no longer be running the same scams that got her arrested, but she's still profiting from her notoriety. Instead of pretending to be an heiress, she's now positioning herself as a media personality, influencer, and artist. She's using the same skills she honed as a scammer, charm, exclusivity, and storytelling, to create new opportunities. Whether it's her Delvey's Dinner Club reality show or her art sales, she has found ways to monetize her past. While some believe she has turned over a new leaf, others suspect she's simply found a new way to sell herself. The playbook hasn't changed, only the audience has. 66. Even wealthy people are careful with money. Anna assumed that rich people were careless with money and would invest in her foundation without hesitation. She thought that dropping the right names and dressing well would be enough to convince them. However, even the wealthiest investors vet business proposals thoroughly before handing over money. Her failure to provide legitimate financial records resulted in multiple loan rejections. Wealthy individuals may have money to spend, but they rarely invest without solid proof of its value. Anna assumed that looking the part was enough to secure funding, but in reality, serious investors always verify financial credibility before committing. 67. Learning from others' mistakes is as important as learning from success. Anna's story provides rich lessons about the pitfalls to avoid. She capitalized on people's trust and used deception to fund a lavish lifestyle, believing she could outmaneuver consequences indefinitely. However, her downfall highlights the risks of building success on dishonesty and manipulation. Learning from her mistakes teaches the importance of transparency, ethical decision-making, and earning success rather than fabricating it. Equally, recognizing the strategies she used to gain influence, such as confidence and storytelling, can be applied positively when used with integrity. Integrating these insights into your life enhances your decision-making and accelerates your personal and professional growth. 68. Shortcuts can lead to long detours. Anna's story is filled with shortcuts that eventually led to significant setbacks. She attempted to bypass traditional success through fraud, thinking she could outsmart the system. However, her quick gains resulted in jail time, reputational damage, and lasting consequences. Genuine success requires hard work and patience. Shortcuts often lead to more problems than they solve. By avoiding shortcuts and embracing the process, you build a solid foundation that leads to well-earned, sustainable achievements. The journey of real effort is far more rewarding and lasting than any illusion of success. 69. Genuine relationships are priceless. Anna often used relationships for personal gain, which eventually led to her isolation. She strategically befriended wealthy individuals and influencers to gain access to resources and credibility. However, these connections were transactional, and when the truth surfaced, those she deceived abandoned her. Building genuine relationships based on mutual respect and understanding is invaluable. True relationships provide trust, support, and deep connections, far outweighing any short-term advantages gained through manipulation. By prioritizing authenticity in your interactions, you ensure lasting bonds that are beneficial for all involved. Thus, investing in real relationships is essential for a fulfilling and stable life. 70. Build sustainable success. Anna's success was built on unstable foundations, which eventually crumbled. She lived in luxury for a short time, but since it was based on deception, it was unsustainable. Real, lasting success requires integrity, hard work, and a commitment to ethical standards. By grounding your achievements in honesty and effort, you create a strong and durable foundation. Sustainable success is not just about personal gains but also about contributing positively to the wider community. Build a legacy that is both meaningful and lasting, one that stands up to scrutiny rather than crumbling under deception. 71. The right scandal can make you a household name. Most people who commit fraud are forgotten, but Anna Delvey turned her crimes into global recognition. Instead of being known as just another scammer, she became a cultural icon, thanks to the media attention surrounding her case. Inventing Anna didn't just tell her story, it cemented her place in pop culture, making her name synonymous with deception and ambition. Her scandal was dramatic enough to captivate audiences but not so egregious that people couldn't be entertained by it. The combination of luxury, audacity, and betrayal made her a perfect subject for viral fascination. Now, she's using that notoriety to build a career, proving that sometimes, the worst thing that happens to you can also be the most profitable. In a world where attention is currency, even crime can be turned into capital. 72. Employees notice more than you think. Anna took advantage of hotel staff, assuming that because they were lower on the social hierarchy, they wouldn't question her. She stayed at 11 Howard for weeks without paying, using the front desk as her personal concierge service. However, employees noticed her suspicious behavior, how she avoided using a credit card, how she dodged payment requests, and eventually, they reported her. People in service roles often see more than they let on, and underestimating them can be a critical mistake. 73. Scammers often believe their own lies. Anna wasn't just lying to others, she seemed to believe in her own delusions. Even when she was caught, she maintained that she was misunderstood and that her vision for the Anna Delvey Foundation was real. Many fraudsters convince themselves that they're not actually doing anything wrong, which allows them to keep lying without guilt. However, self-deception doesn't change reality, and believing your own lies doesn't make them true. 74. If you're gonna lie, at least keep the story straight. Anna told so many different versions of her background that even she probably forgot which one was true. Some people heard she was a German heiress, others thought she was from Russia, and no one actually saw proof of this mythical $60 million trust fund. The problem with lying is that people talk, and when their stories don't match up, they start to compare notes. You can finesse one or two people, but when half of New York is confused about why your wire transfers are always mysteriously delayed, the jig is up. By the time Anna got caught, the question wasn't if she was lying, it was which lie was the most ridiculous. Moral of the story? If you're gonna commit to a lie, at least write it down so you don't mix up the details. 75. The wealthiest circles rely on discretion until the truth is too big to ignore. Many elites ignored the warning signs about Anna Delvey because they assumed someone else had verified her wealth. High society often operates on unspoken trust, where questioning someone's background is seen as impolite. As a result, she was able to scam some of the most powerful people in New York simply because no one wanted to be the first to challenge her. However, once her unpaid bills and bounced checks became impossible to ignore, the same people who once embraced her quickly distanced themselves. Suddenly, the same discretion that protected her became a liability, as no one wanted to be associated with a fraud. Wealthy circles may value secrecy, but even they have limits. When deception becomes too public, reputations must be protected at all costs. 76. Some people think a Netflix show is better than an acquittal. For Anna Delvey, public perception may matter more than her actual legal status. Despite being convicted of fraud, her story was turned into a hit series, which brought her more fame than her trial ever could have. While most criminals seek legal exoneration, she seems more focused on shaping how the public views her. Her media projects, interviews, and social media presence suggest that she cares less about proving her innocence and more about staying relevant. In today's world, a compelling narrative can sometimes outweigh the facts of a case. For someone like Anna, being infamous might be more valuable than being legally cleared. If the audience is entertained, the details of the conviction almost become secondary. 77. The modern economy rewards the audacious, even when they lie. In a world where startups are built on hype and influencers profit from exaggerated personas, boldness is often more important than honesty. Anna Delvey exploited this reality, presenting herself as a visionary entrepreneur when she was really just making things up as she went along. The fact that she nearly secured millions in funding shows how easily confidence can replace credentials. Many successful business figures operate in a similar way, selling ideas before they have any real substance. The difference is that most eventually deliver on their promises. Anna never did. Her scam revealed how much of modern success is based on perception rather than tangible results. Sometimes, being fearless is enough to get ahead, even if it shouldn't be. 78. Scams thrive because people love an aspirational story. People want to believe in success stories, especially when they involve outsiders breaking into elite spaces. Anna Delvey's rise played into this desire, presenting a narrative of a young woman navigating the upper echelons of New York society. Investors and socialites wanted to believe in her vision, not just because it sounded profitable but because it was exciting. The idea that someone could create a high-end arts foundation from nothing was compelling, even if it wasn't real. This same dynamic allows countless financial scams to succeed, from Ponzi schemes to fraudulent startups. The more aspirational the pitch, the more people want it to be true. Scammers don't just sell lies, they sell dreams. 79. Some criminals serve less time than she did for worse crimes. While Anna Delvey's fraud was significant, she wasn't the worst financial criminal in recent history. Many corporate executives have stolen far more money through tax fraud, insider trading, or predatory lending practices and received lighter sentences, or no jail time at all. Meanwhile, Anna's high-profile case led to a prison sentence of 4 to 12 years, which is more than some violent offenders receive. This disparity raises questions about how punishment is distributed and whether her case was more about making an example of her than delivering fair justice. Some argue that she was treated harshly because her crimes embarrassed wealthy institutions rather than truly damaging them. When justice is inconsistent, sentencing becomes less about the crime and more about who gets caught. 80. Society loves a rebellious woman until she asks for a wire transfer. Women who defy norms are often celebrated until their actions become inconvenient for those around them. Anna Delvey was admired for her boldness and independence, but when it became clear that she was deceiving people for money, admiration quickly turned to outrage. People enjoyed her story when she was just an eccentric socialite, but when the unpaid bills started piling up, they turned on her. The same audacity that made her fascinating also made her a liability. Many who once welcomed her into elite circles were the first to demand her downfall when her fraud became undeniable. Society may appreciate rebellious women, but only if they stay within acceptable limits. The moment a rule breaker asks for real money, the tolerance disappears. 81. Reputation management is continuous. Anna's reputation swung dramatically, from elite socialite to convicted fraudster. This serves as a reminder that managing your reputation is a continuous process, shaped by every action and decision you make. Initially, she built a glamorous persona that convinced many to invest in her vision. However, once the truth emerged, her reputation crumbled, demonstrating how fragile public perception can be. To maintain a positive reputation, it is crucial to act consistently in ways that enhance your image. Demonstrating reliability, honesty, and integrity in all your actions ensures that your reputation remains strong even when faced with challenges. A proactive approach to reputation management prevents downfalls and contributes to long-term success. Thus, effective reputation management requires continuous effort and ethical conduct. 82. Some people will always believe in your potential, no matter how many times you lie. Despite overwhelming evidence of Anna Delvey's fraud, there are still people who believe she was simply an ambitious woman trying to succeed. Supporters argue that she had a real vision for the Anna Delvey Foundation and that her downfall was just a result of bad luck. Even after her conviction, she has managed to attract new followers who admire her confidence and ability to navigate elite spaces. Some see her as a rebellious figure who challenged the exclusivity of wealth, ignoring the fact that she primarily scammed individuals who trusted her. The willingness of people to overlook deception in favor of a compelling narrative is what allows many fraudsters to thrive. As long as someone projects confidence and charm, there will always be those willing to give them another chance. 83. Rich people assume that if you look the part, you belong. Wealthy circles operate on an unspoken understanding that those around them are of a similar status. Anna Delvey exploited this by dressing in designer fashion, frequenting high-end venues, and speaking with the air of someone used to luxury. Because she appeared to be wealthy, many people assumed she must be, never questioning her financial background. Hotels extended her credit, investors took her meetings, and socialites invited her into their exclusive circles, all because she fit the aesthetic of their world. No one wanted to be the person to question her legitimacy and risk looking foolish if she turned out to be real. This blind trust in appearances allowed her to maintain her deception for years. In elite spaces, looking rich can sometimes be more important than actually being rich. 84. Being broke in designer clothing doesn't make you rich. Wearing luxury fashion doesn't equate to financial stability, but in a society obsessed with image, it can create the illusion of wealth. Anna Delvey understood this and made sure she always looked the part of a successful heiress, even when her bank accounts were empty. By dressing in high-end brands like Balenciaga and Celine, she convinced people that she was one of them, even though she couldn't afford her lifestyle. This is the same logic behind social media influencers who showcase expensive items they don't own or lease luxury cars they can't pay for. Many people are fooled by the surface-level markers of wealth, failing to look deeper. Anna's story proves that looking rich can open doors, but it won't keep them open when the bills come due. Eventually, financial reality always catches up. 85. People forgive good outfits faster than bad ethics. Throughout her trial and post-prison life, Anna Delvey has remained a fashion icon, with many more interested in her wardrobe than her crimes. Even in court, she hired a stylist to ensure she looked impeccable, turning the proceedings into a media spectacle. While many found her actions reprehensible, others admired her ability to maintain an image of luxury despite her legal troubles. The fact that she has been invited to New York Fashion Week and continues to be associated with high fashion speaks to the power of aesthetics. People may criticize her ethics, but they still celebrate her style. In a world obsessed with appearances, sometimes looking the part is more important than playing it honestly. When image takes precedence over morality, a well-dressed fraudster can still be admired. 86. If your friend is always forgetting their wallet, they're not forgetting. Anna never had a problem remembering her credit cards until it was time to actually pay for something. Somehow, she always had a mysterious banking issue, an international wire transfer delay, or an excuse that made someone else pick up the check. Rachel DeLoach Williams learned this lesson the hard way, footing the huge bill in Morocco because Anna acted offended when she asked about reimbursement. Newsflash: if your friend is always too rich to Venmo you back but too broke to cover their own dinner, you are the walking ATM. Anna didn't forget to pay, she never intended to. If the wealthiest person in the room never picks up the check, they might not be as wealthy as they claim. 87. Persistence pays, but not without direction. Anna's relentless pursuit of her goals demonstrates that persistence can indeed open doors. Her ability to network, charm, and push past obstacles helped her gain access to exclusive social circles. However, her persistence lacked ethical direction, leading her to fraudulently acquire money and resources. This ultimately resulted in legal consequences rather than lasting success. It is crucial to align your persistent efforts with positive goals that are built on integrity. Establishing clear ethical standards ensures that your persistence leads to achievements that are both sustainable and morally sound. By doing so, you maximize the positive impact of your hard work rather than creating a house of cards destined to collapse. 88. Rich people don't mind looking broke, but broke people love looking rich. Real billionaires wear hoodies, drive old cars, and don't care about Instagram aesthetics, but Anna made sure every outfit, meal, and travel destination screamed wealth. The truth? The people truly running the world don't need to prove anything, while the ones pretending to run it are always flexing. Anna's obsession with looking the part is what eventually exposed her, because the people she surrounded herself with actually had money, and when she couldn't back up her image, they dropped her. If you're more focused on looking rich than being rich, you're playing a short-term game with long-term consequences. Money doesn't talk when it's just an illusion made of bounced checks. 89. Charisma can open doors, but integrity keeps them open. Anna's charm and confidence allowed her to gain access to elite social circles and convince people to trust her. She used her charisma to book expensive hotel stays, dine at high-end restaurants, and network with powerful individuals. However, once her lies were exposed, those doors quickly shut. Charisma can be a powerful tool, but without integrity, it is not enough to sustain success. Being genuine and trustworthy ensures that the opportunities you create remain available in the long term. 90. Social status is not a measure of character. Anna believed that surrounding herself with the rich and famous would automatically validate her. However, wealth and status do not define integrity, honesty, or kindness. Some of the most admirable people are not those who flaunt luxury but those who build their lives with purpose and authenticity. Judging people based on their character rather than their social standing leads to more meaningful relationships. 91. Con artistry is just capitalism without legal paperwork. Many of the tactics Anna Delvey used, exaggerating her wealth, selling a vision before securing funding, and leveraging social connections for financial gain, are common in business. The difference is that legitimate entrepreneurs follow legal protocols, while scammers skip the paperwork and rely on deception. In many ways, Anna was playing the same game as venture capitalists and influencers who sell an image before delivering results. If she had secured actual investors and completed the Anna Delvey Foundation, she might have been hailed as a business visionary rather than a fraud. The financial world is filled with people who bend the truth to attract money, but only some get caught. Her story forces us to question whether success is about having real assets, or just the ability to convince others that you do. 92. Burning bridges comes back to haunt you. Anna relied on friendships and connections to maintain her lavish lifestyle. She borrowed money from friends, stayed in their homes, and depended on their generosity. However, when they realized she had no intention of repaying them, they turned against her. Rachel DeLoach Williams, a former friend whom Anna scammed into their lavish trip to Morocco, played a key role in her arrest by working with law enforcement. When you treat people as disposable, they may be the ones who ultimately bring you down. 93. Private jets have a cost, and it's not just your reputation. Flying private is one of the most expensive luxuries, and Anna Delvey took full advantage of it, without paying. She convinced Blade, a luxury aviation company, to let her take a $35,390 private jet trip to Omaha to attend Warren Buffett's annual event. She did this by sending a fake wire transfer confirmation, buying herself time before the company realized they had been scammed. While it made her look even more like an elite socialite, it also added to the trail of unpaid bills that ultimately led to her downfall. The wealthy might be able to afford private flights, but companies won't tolerate repeated fraud, no matter how convincing someone seems. In the end, pretending to be rich costs more than just money, it can cost you your freedom. 94. If you have to babysit a grown woman, she's not a friend, she's a liability. Casey Duke, a celebrity fitness instructor, was more than just a trainer to Anna. She was a babysitter, a life coach, a crisis manager. She had to keep Anna from spiraling, keep her focused, and keep her from completely self-destructing. That's not friendship, that's full-time unpaid labor. At some point, looking out for someone crosses the line into enabling. If you're spending more time fixing someone else's mess than living your own life, you're not in a friendship, you're in a hostage situation. And the worst part? Anna never paid for her sessions and wasn't even grateful for it. 95. Your actions affect the people who defend you. Anna's lawyer, Todd Spodek, fought hard for her in court, painting her as a bold entrepreneur rather than a con artist. However, Anna's refusal to take responsibility and her entitled attitude made defending her even more difficult. She often seemed more concerned with her outfits in court than her legal strategy, frustrating even those trying to help her. Legal representation can only do so much. If you refuse to acknowledge wrongdoing or make amends, even the best defense won't save you. Respecting those who advocate for you and working with them, rather than against them, is crucial in difficult situations. 96. Lying to get ahead isn't disrupting the system, it's just fraud. Some argue that Anna Delvey was a rebellious figure who exposed the flaws in wealth and privilege. However, real disruptors create change, while scammers just exploit the system for personal gain. Unlike tech innovators or business leaders who challenge outdated structures, Anna didn't introduce anything new, she simply took advantage of existing loopholes. While she revealed how easily the wealthy can be deceived, she didn't use that knowledge to create something meaningful. True disruption leads to lasting impact, not just personal profit. If lying and deception are the main tools of success, then it's not about breaking the system, it's about gaming it for short-term benefits. Real change doesn't come from scamming, it comes from building something real. 97. Some people are only sorry they got caught. True remorse is about acknowledging harm and making amends, but many scammers only express regret once they face consequences. Anna Delvey has never fully taken responsibility for the damage she caused, instead focusing on how unfairly she believes she was treated. Even after her conviction, she has framed herself as a victim of the system rather than someone who deliberately deceived people. She hasn't prioritized repaying those she scammed, choosing instead to monetize her story through media deals and art sales. If she had never been caught, it's likely she would have continued her schemes without hesitation. Apologies are meaningless if they only come after someone has lost the ability to keep scamming. 98. Deportation is a real consequence for foreign nationals. Anna's crimes in the U.S. had additional consequences beyond her prison sentence. She was detained by ICE for overstaying her visa and is still fighting deportation to Germany. Many people overlook the fact that non-citizens who commit crimes face immigration consequences. Visa status is not a shield against legal repercussions, and even those who build a high-profile life in another country can be forced to leave if they break the law. 99. The legal system rewards those who can afford the right defense. While Anna Delvey's trial was high-profile, it also highlighted the stark inequalities in the justice system. Many people who commit financial crimes don't have the resources to hire elite attorneys or shape their public image. Anna, on the other hand, had a legal team that carefully crafted a defense strategy to present her as an ambitious woman rather than a career criminal. She was able to extend her trial, negotiate media deals, and secure public sympathy, all luxuries that many defendants don't have. While she did serve time, her ability to control the narrative gave her opportunities that others in her position would never receive. The outcome of a case isn't just about guilt or innocence, it's about who can afford the best representation. 100. Always verify, never just trust, especially when millions are involved. The biggest mistake people made with Anna Delvey was assuming someone else had already checked her background. Banks, investors, and socialites all took her word at face value because they assumed she must be legitimate. No one wanted to be the person to question her and look foolish, which allowed her to operate unchecked for years. Even small steps, like verifying financial documents or confirming bank balances, could have exposed her lies much sooner. The lesson from her story is clear: no matter how confident or charming someone seems, trust should always be backed by facts. In high-stakes situations, blind faith is a liability. A little skepticism can go a long way in protecting against deception. And there you have it, 100 lessons learned from Anna Delvey. What a whirlwind journey it's been to explore the insights hidden within her fascinating, and often cautionary, story. From her audacious ambition to the consequences of her choices, Anna's life serves as a reminder that every decision we make shapes our future in profound ways. These lessons aren't just about her, they're about us, and how we can use her story to reflect, grow, and build lives rooted in authenticity and purpose. Now that we've explored these 100 lessons, I'd love to hear from you. Which one stood out to you the most? Was there a particular insight that felt like it was speaking directly to your own experiences? Or perhaps there's a lesson you've already implemented in your life that you'd like to share? Let's start a conversation in the comments below. Your thoughts, stories, and perspectives add so much richness to this community, and I can't wait to read what you have to say. Before you go, let me remind you once more to visit Love Luxe Amore. If today's video inspired you to take control of your journey and align your actions with your aspirations, we're here to support you every step of the way. Whether you're ready to analyze your vision board to gain clarity, set impactful goals to create a roadmap for success, or develop custom affirmations to boost your confidence and mindset, our digital products and services are designed to empower you. Life is too short to live without intention. Start your transformation today at loveluxeamore.com. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share it with someone who could benefit from these lessons, and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Your support not only helps this channel grow but also fuels our mission to inspire, empower, and create a community of lifelong learners. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today. Remember, every experience, whether yours or someone else's, has the power to teach us something valuable. Keep learning, stay inspired, and always strive to be the best version of yourself. Until next time, take care, keep dreaming big, and I'll see you in the next video.